I'm joined in the studio by International Affairs Editor Douglas Herbert. Doug, we're hearing about a plane landing in Belarus, in Minsk to be exact, but in the meantime, Prigozhin's whereabouts are still unknown.
Right.
He's believed to be heading to Belarus under the terms of that deal announced by the Belarusian President Lukashenko. But what more do we know about the deal indeed?
We know very little. Aside from what Lukashenko himself announced about this deal, sort of casting himself as the main broker, the man thanks to whom Putin's hide was saved from mutiny, and Prigozhin has sort of an exit ramp to use in the face of what was shaping up to be a defeat as he was approaching Moscow. Look, you're right to underline the fact that, yes, there are reports of a plane believed to be carrying Prigozhin landing near Minsk. Until we see him, we as journalists know, seeing is the best form of verification. Hasn't been seen yet, believed to be. So he may be in Belarus. Fact is, he hasn't been seen since the rebellion, since he was seen leaving Rostov to cheering throngs of supporters, taking selfies and videos and shaking his hand. He has been heard in that 11-minute video that he issued yesterday from an unspecified location. Look, Lukashenko's role here is interesting because, yes, Lukashenko has been Putin have been codependents ever since Putin stepped in to basically save Lukashenko from an election that Lukashenko stole in 2020. Fraudulent election, a rigged election, according to every international observer you can name. Putin hasn't explicitly called him that, but has probably seen Lukashenko as a vassal, someone who is dependent on him, and Lukashenko knew it, especially Lukashenko's economy, crippled more than ever after the pandemic because of sanctions, reliant on Putin. This move, and the reason Lukashenko has such an interest in playing up his role in brokering this pact and bailing out Putin, is because of that dependency. If he can steal some of that thunder, if he can get a little bit of his mojo back, so to speak, he could be seen less as a vassal in Putin's eyes, and he could perhaps be seen more as an equal partner. We know that Putin has essentially seen Belarus as part of a broader sort of geopolitical entity, has wanted closer union. Lukashenko's had no choice but to sort of nod submissively to it. But there is no love lost, really, I don't think, between Lukashenko and Putin. These are not men who love each other. These are men who needed each other. They knew it. So Lukashenko's role will hopefully become clearer in the coming days and weeks. But what is clear is he is the biggest beneficiary, narrative-wise, right now, of this failed mutiny, because he's the man seen as having saved the day, in a sense, for both men.
Now, what does Ukraine and its allies have to say to those remarks by Vladimir Putin about their supposed behind-the-scenes involvement in all of this?
Yeah, I mean, Putin has had a long-standing theme, Annette, as you know. And this is not the first time I've talked about this. The theme, the narrative being a narrative that has been, basically thundered on about by the state-controlled media, that the West is uniquely vendetta-bent and hell-bent on destroying and humiliating Mother Russia. This is a narrative of the West against Russia. We are protecting our motherland, Mother Russia, against these evildoers out to get us, and the neo-Nazis in Ukraine, as he calls them. What the West knows, if nothing else about Putin, is it knows that narrative by heart. The West was ready for the remarks that Putin gave in this less than 5-minute, but visibly angry, if not irate speech, lashing out at the West, essentially accusing the West, Ukraine and its allies, of fomenting what's now being called the Prigozhin rebellion. Fomenting it, why? Because anything that divides Russia, anything that helps humiliate Russia, weakens Russia, brings Russia to its knees, anything to that extent is good for the West. Biden, basically, he has had none of it. They knew this was coming. Even as it was unfolding, the rebellion, they made it very clear. U.S. not involved. We are not involved in this. They were watching it unfold. Biden did convene a conference call at the White House with allies as it was unfolding to coordinate, to try to, keep tabs on what was happening. They're naturally concerned about it, but we have nothing to do with it. They were basically trying to steal Putin's thunder, steal that narrative, deprive him of that West against Russia narrative before it could even come out of his mouth.
Doug Herbert, thank you so much for that.